Hey gang, Ross Brand here for Ross and Nez. In episode 20, we talk about the controversy surrounding Logan Paul and YouTube demonetizing his account. We talk about what this means for platforms such as YouTube, for content creators, free speech issues, issues that businesses have in terms of who they partner with and work with, and what all this means in the wild, wild west of the new economy and online content creation. Here it is, episode 20, Ross and Nez, the live stream experience. Enjoy.
How many of you in the comments below, let me know if you know who YouTube sensation Logan Paul is. How many people know who Logan Paul is? I want to see in the comments. If you're listening to this on the podcast, watching this on YouTube, reach out to us and let us know, do you know who Logan Paul is? There's some breaking news. And whatever conference that you're attending, Jenny, I'm there.
There you go.
I really am a big fan of Coach Jenny. I think she's awesome. Have you noticed her content she's been creating on Facebook, which I love? She's been creating this content with her beautiful Bitmoji. I love it. Yeah, Logan Paul, the douchebag. Perfect description. Well, you know, we've been talking a lot about this show, about how the power of video, the power of live video. If you don't know this, Logan Paul is a huge creator on, you know, I totally agree with Coach Jenny. I think he's got some definite douchebag tendencies. But whether you like him or not, here is a guy who is creating a video channel on YouTube, and he's accruing, check this out, guys, well over $1 million a month just in AdSense. Now, that's not, let that sink in for a little bit. Notwithstanding his sponsorships, his brand deals, he has merchandise. I'm sure he's got an e-commerce store that's pulling in at least 5 figures, if not more a month, probably. But just on AdSense, one of the most difficult ways to make money online, unless you have millions and millions of subscribers, just through AdSense, he's making a little over $1 million a month. Well, YouTube, if you don't know the news, here's the breaking news. YouTube has just revealed that they are taking away Logan Paul's AdSense money. He is being penalized because he is not creating content that is quote unquote advertiser friendly. They're taking away his AdSense. They're penalizing him. Now, if they took away my AdSense, it'd be peanuts, right? It'd probably be about as much as Ross makes in a month. Anyway, but here's the thing. Here's the thing is this is
from YouTube, you mean, right? Not overall.
Oh, I thought it was like total. I was going by gross revenue, actually net profit after taxes.
Yeah. Well, we'll get that YouTube channel rolling soon. So.
No, but I mean, think about,
there's $1 million in AdSense a month that's just sitting out there.
I think there's an important, there is, we're leaving a lot of money on the table. Yeah. I think this is an important thing to understand. And we've talked about this before, Ross, about setting up camp on somebody else's ground. Imagine if you're basically, and he's got employees, he's got people he's got to take care of. And now, granted, he makes enough money to probably handle all that. But imagine if somebody just said, you know, well, it's your content, you own it, you have it, it's your videos, it's your channel. But imagine if the property owner of that channel just said one day, just basically hit the off switch and said, bye-bye, you can't make any more money. I mean, that's shutting down an extremely large amount of revenue, right? Right. And if you don't know the conspiracy or the drama is more like it, he kind of is, and Jenny's totally right. I think he's a complete douchebag. He's created a lot of content that, you know, was just downright wrong. I mean, I don't even want to give him any more attention, but just, you know, he did this thing in the Japanese suicide forest, kind of making fun of suicide and whatever. Anyway,
everything he does seems stupid. Like it's
everything he does is really stupid.
It has no value whatsoever.
It has zero value, and it's all like tasing rats. Like, what did you say, Ross? Tasing rats in an alley.
Tasing dead rats or something. Or shooting
melt or something like. It's all clickbaity. It's all crappy. You know, it's something.
I mean, this is to me the downside of the whole, you know, creating content on the internet, that people like this are winning with such crap. I mean,
you're right. But here's the thing. I think there's a lot of people who are still doing, it's kind of like the same thing with, like, the way I look at it. It's like, all the firefighters, teachers, and all the great salt of the earth people who get zero recognition, but then some rapper can, rap about killing his parents and get a $20 million record deal, right? It's the same thing. It's like, the old saying is, you want to know what God thinks of money, look who he gives it to, right? So it's the same thing. It's like, I try to advocate all the time, and Ross, I'd love your thoughts on this, and please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this. If you're just after the money, if you're just after the dollars, the potential to turn into Logan Paul is huge. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying money's not important. It's absolutely important. But if that's at the forefront of your thoughts for creation, if that's all you think about to grow an audience, or that's all you think about is your main impetus for creating content, I think you're going to find yourself cruelly deceived at how difficult and how hard that is. I think understanding that what's inside here needs to come outside there. You need to communicate that with value, with effect, with impact, with significance. And I truly believe that the consistency and congruency, the money will come, right? But it's got to start there. Don't underestimate the power of creating an empire, creating a media empire, creating a business. That's huge. But it's got to start somewhere from understanding who you are and understanding what you can bring to an audience and why that's valuable. And I'm not worried about Logan Paul at all. I just think it's interesting because YouTube's going to lose a crap ton of money by demonetizing him as well. But this is sending a very strong message to creators, isn't it? I know Ross and I have talked extensively about this. I feel like we are consummate professionals. I almost laughed after I said that, but I do truly believe that. And so we try to always...
You're getting there.
Like our podcast, I want mothers taking their kids to school. I mean, think about this, guys. I'd love your thoughts on this. I want mothers taking their kids to school listening to the Ross and Nez live stream experience. I don't want them having to go, well, Chachi and Joni are sitting in the back and they're 3 and 5. Did I just date myself? That just came out of nowhere. Chachi and Joni.
After they stop by the malt shop. And...
Yeah, most audiences have no idea who Chachi and Joni is.
They visited Arthur's Diner.
Yeah, Arthur's Diner.
Played a tune from the jukebox.
Anybody got a dime? I want to play that great classic.
All right, sit on it, Potsy.
Yeah, sit on it, Potsy. So my point is I being a professional, I always want to create advertiser friendly because I am business minded and I want this to be a business because I love doing this. And if I can monetize what I love, that is the American dream, in my opinion. So this is sending a strong message. This is why I wanted to release this breaking news here. This is sending a strong message to creators that nobody is immune, because a lot of people were complaining there wasn't enough of a penalty when this first thing came out with Logan Paul several weeks ago, if not a month ago. I can't remember exactly when it was. And now this is YouTube is sending a very strong message. We won't have it. We're not going to allow it. This guy's losing millions.
Right. And I think for him, it's a ton of money. For YouTube, it's a drop in the bucket compared to what they have to lose if people decide maybe we'll make some other platform our primary place to put videos and to engage with video creators. And then there's also, as if the public starts turning against YouTube and Google, then there's the possibility of regulation and so forth, because, Google's getting close to being a monopoly on search, right? I mean, it's got 98% of the search. It can make a business disappear if it wants to, basically, right?
Here's the actual. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Ross.
So there's bigger fish to fry for Google, right? Like they can live without Logan Paul. They can't live if they get busted up by the government, or something, right?
I think the ancillary effect of this is what they should be worried about, because, like you said, Logan Paul, it is a drop in the bucket in their billions of dollars of revenue that they're getting, and think about this too. I mean, YouTube, there's like 1 million videos being uploaded a day or a second or something like that. They do have to invest in larger servers, and this is a free platform. I mean, YouTube is a free platform. Nobody has to pay. You have a free public broadcasting station, a free global distribution center that you don't have to pay anything for. So, I mean, this dude's, not only does he have a way to spread his message, but he's making tons of money. and then to do something that egregious, I'm really proud of this movement by YouTube. But here's the official statement, and this is what the VP, Vice President of YouTube, Ariel Bardin, is saying, is how bad you have. What's the kind of barometer? What's the measurement? And he says, a heinous prank, any heinous prank where people are traumatized, and anything that promotes violence or hate toward a group, demonstrates cruelty, or sensationalizes the pain of others in an attempt to gain views or subscribers. I would say this right off the bat. I want you to be you. I want you to be you as a creator, but you got to think about this. This is going to get posted on the internet. This is going to have a life to it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, how is this going to make you look? How is this, have a little self-awareness? How is this going to be perceived by your grandkids? What you do now has major ramifications, okay, across the board, your family, your friends, your ability to get hired, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Logan Paul doesn't have to worry about that, but he might. I mean, he might one day, if this keeps up. Let's say he takes a rebellious attitude towards this.
Right.
If he's like, screw YouTube, I'm going to be me. What's to say that other platforms don't say, you know what, we agree with YouTube. We're not going to condone this kind of stuff. And, you know, he becomes, his barrel starts getting emptier and emptier. You never know what could happen.
Right,
you know?
right.
I would say don't count on anything. I always advocate be you, right? And I want you to really exemplify and express yourself the way you want to, but just be self-aware. That's all. Just be, understand.
I think that there's even worse than Logan Paul, right? Like somebody, if YouTube says we're okay with this guy making money doing what he's doing, what's the next step? Somebody torturing animals on video to try and get somebody torturing people on YouTube. Like, there are people with very little judgment or moral sense, right? And this could easily escalate to the most ridiculous level if YouTube doesn't kind of put a stop to saying this is the path to making money.
I love the way you said that.
I don't think views and speech in general should be, YouTube should be in the
censorship,
in the business of censoring, right? Like,
right.
In order for ideas to be challenged in a free society, you have to risk offending,
Right.
and you have to risk stepping on a sacred cow or a third rail or whatever you want to say, right?
Well said.
And I think YouTube does that too much, right?
Yeah.
Where somebody has a controversial opinion, and because it doesn't necessarily fit with what the culture says today, people want to hear, YouTube can be very quick to censor, and I don't like that. But you certainly have no right to earn money through YouTube, right? I do think Coach Jenny says she offends at least 5 people before breakfast.
Only 5?
But
Ross offends about 50.
Yeah. I think I'm offending them right now.
Yes.
Oh, but no, my point is, I think if you have the power of Google and YouTube, then you have a responsibility. If you're operating in the United States and other Western democracies where free speech is really the key to the entire functioning of those societies, right? Everything we have comes from the ability to speak your mind without fear and everything. You have to set a pretty high barrier before you start censoring people. But nobody has the right to use your platform to earn a living, violating your terms of service and what you think is in your business interest. And that's where these guys go wrong, is they think they have some right to make money on YouTube.
He thinks he's invincible.
Like it's a constitutional right or something to make money on you. You don't have any right.
Yeah,
YouTube needs to do what's in YouTube's interest and what it sees as in the interest of its shareholders and so forth. And
that's where the difference is. I love the way you said that, Russ. That's where the difference is this is an individual who may be in his 20s, and he may appear on videos doing just some like real outlandish, just dumb stuff that seems so juvenile, immature. But this guy's very cognizant that he runs a business. So for him to think, it's almost very narcissistic, it's very egotistical for him to think that I can do whatever I want and YouTube's not going to do anything to me, which, by the way, again, just to stress this, there's a lot of creators who are saying, man, I mean, you didn't ban his channel, you didn't demonetize him. He actually gained just from that controversy. He gained something like 100,000 subscribers in less than, it was something astronomical. Like the guy's got like 15 million subscribers total, but he gained just through that controversy hundreds of thousands of subscribers, more than 100, just on that controversy. And so this was sending the message, and YouTube did the right thing, I think. This was sending the message that if you're big, if you're too big to fail, right, so to speak, then you can do whatever you want. And I think this is sending the message that no. We care about our community. We care about who we are as a business and what we represent, and how this doesn't, complement or parallel how we view ourselves and the type of message we want to send to the world. And it's hasta la pasta. I think it's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I think caring about the community, I don't want to give too much credit. I mean, they didn't shut them down at the first instance, right?
No, they waited until the wind blew, to keep that revenue machine.
And people were legitimately outraged and sickened by what he was doing. And then it's like, okay, I guess we got to shut the tap off now, So I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
no, you're right.
I don't want to pretend that YouTube did something that was in every.
Yeah,
look,
they're not angels.
I'm not anti any of these platforms. I just say, like, take a little bit of the presumption that you're about something bigger than being a business. Like, Facebook is a business, YouTube and Google are a business, and that's fine. And they're entitled to make money, and they're entitled to act in their own interest. Just stop pretending you're doing it, for some nobler cause, right? And that's where they kind of rub me the wrong way, is that when they pretend that they're, the conscience of the world or whatever, and really their interests and their actions generally align very well with their business interests and their values, not what the community wants or needs or says. Because if they did that, they probably wouldn't have let Logan Paul get going in the first place. Because for all the millions of views and followers somebody like that has, there's far more people who, as soon as they know about him, are disgusted by what he does. Right?
Yeah, but it is interesting because this was starting to kind of, in the world of media now, I mean, tomorrow's news is already yesterday's news in like a heartbeat, right? This was starting to become old news. I mean, it already was old news, right? The fact that YouTube took this action now, I agree with you 100%. There's no innocence here. There's no like, self-righteous, idealistic kind of motive here, but and it's always in the interest of business. I would have to say we'd be naive if we didn't say that. But, the fact that they did it, this is perfect too. This comment from Jenny, I mean, the old adage, any publicity is good publicity, right? She didn't even know he existed until the controversy. So who wins really here? Who really won here was really Logan. By doing this video, and I don't want to even talk about the video because it's probably going to get him more subscribers. But this is, it's interesting that they did it now. Was it just pressure? Was it just enough is enough, or was it really something that the YouTube community?
I don't know. I don't know, Nez, that he won because of this. Because
interesting. Talk to me.
Because now so many parents are aware of who he is. And so wherever he makes his next move to earn money, parents are going to probably do what they can to keep their kids off of his site. I mean, I think that, his audience definitely trends younger. And as he becomes,
definitely,
he gets tarred with, was what he did in Japan. Was it racist? Was it, it was certainly insensitive at the highest level towards human life and towards people's struggles and whatever. And I think, you could start to become ostracized, right? Like, nobody could say that, like, killing two people allegedly was good for O.J. Simpson, right? Like, yes, he still had adulation. Yes, he still found some ways to make money with autograph signings and things like that, but nowhere near what he could have made had he not allegedly killed those two people, right? Yeah. So I think that yeah, all publicity is good publicity thing. There's some truth to that in a lot of cases, but not always, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes we can't defend against something we're not aware of, right? And now
Right.
that we're aware of Logan Paul, I think he would have been much better with people like me and Coach Jenny and loads of parents out there and loads of teachers and other people not knowing who he was. And so, kids before they fully formed their idea of right and wrong and good and bad and stuff can be at 14-year-old boys can be watching that stuff and subscribing to and whatever. Maybe now there's more pressure not to watch his stuff.
Aren't we seeing? We're seeing a lot of this happen. No, the big algorithm change with Facebook. They want more quality, content between friends and family, and they're more aware of all these sort of security parameters and trying to clean up their act and trying to clean up the feed and trying to oust the hate or oust the negativity. We're seeing a lot more of that from these social media, and this is definitely a topic for another show, but you're seeing people like George Soros and people like even Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, are coming out and saying social media is addictive and it's got all these, that you're seeing a lot more social responsibility being talked about now in these huge platforms. With power comes responsibility, right? I mean, these platforms are dominating the world. I mean, Amazon owns the world. Facebook owns the world. I mean, this is it's interesting to see. And YouTube is owned by Google. Google's definitely one of the big heavy hitters. Could this be a sign of things to come? Could this be a sign that, they just had a major algorithm change or a major policy change with monetizing your channel. 4,000 hours of watch time, which is insanely, you have to have a certain amount of subscribers, 1,000 subscribers. Every platform now is trying to create an environment where if you're not a legitimate content creator, it's going to be more difficult for you to get in the ballroom. You know what I mean?
Well, I think, again, I don't want to really give Tim Cook or George Soros much credit, if any, right?
Yeah.
Because, again, there's a backlash that's building, and it may still seem like it's on the margins, but there are a lot of people who have been tech investors, who have been employees of tech companies, who've been in the social media game, and are talking about how, let's face it, these platforms were all made to keep you on the platform. And how do they do that? By getting you addicted to their content and by getting you addicted to getting likes and all that stuff.
I don't think these guys are innocent at all when they're saying this, but
and so, I mean, I don't think that Tim Cook was unaware of what Apple was doing for years, or that George Soros gave a damn when he invested in all that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to, when he, was a big investor in the tech companies.
I agree.
I think what they're seeing is seeing the backlash is coming.
Right.
And so
protecting themselves.
They're savvy business people, whatever else you want to say about them, good or bad. They're saying, let's get out in front of it and sort of, be like we're leading the movement, although we'll still continue to profit off of these things that are, I mean, so there's a little like,
how would Apple even, Apple products would not even be selling as much as they are if it wasn't for social media. Impossible. Because
social media is the internet. Gary Vee has said that, and it's true. What we used to call the internet is social media. When people pick up their phone, what are their
social
apps?
Media.
Let me take a look at what I have on the front. I have YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Messenger, Gmail, and a bunch of other things that Apple put on the front that I didn't bother to switch. But I'll just turn the page and go to podcasts, LinkedIn, Skype, Google Drive. I mean, Periscope. I don't even use that much, but Pinterest, whatever. I mean, that's what you come to when you look at my phone. I mean, it's all through social media. Even the articles we read, how we get our news, how we get everything is through social media. And so,
No.
Their whole
I
thing
completely agree
was,
with you. I
look, Hubby
completely
talked about it right in our
no.
interview, and he's we both have the most respect for the content he creates and how he leverages these platforms and understands where they're going and creates content you want to come back for and you want to hear his next take. I mean, hell, we're doing it with this show. We want you to come back. We don't want you to miss what we have to say about YouTube and about these different social platforms.
Absolutely.
So we all recognize it, even as we're playing the game to an extent. But I mean, the people who really created these things and were the initial investors and were the ones who programmed it and all that, I mean, they're a little late to the game now because the groundswell is already there. There's already people saying, hey, I understand what these things do because I was part of building them and I don't want my kids on them. And that's where, so that's where I think people are getting in front of it now. Like, right. Hey, I'm worried about it too.
Whether their motives are, I completely agree with you. Whether their motives are self-interest, which probably they are, and which they're trying to get out in front of it, which they probably are. The point is that the effect of that is reverberating within the culture. So if you've got people like Tim Cook and you got people like Elon Musk and you got people like George Soros, which I completely agree, they're profiting off of this addiction and they're advancing off of this addiction completely. I mean, nobody should be that naive to think that they're not benefiting from social media being addictive.
Right. But and you and I only want people to watch our shows and listen to our podcasts. We don't need you to be on 24/7.
Of course not.
We just need an hour or two a week from you, and that's plenty good.
Yeah,
some shares, some likes, and love.
That's not even the point. That's not even the point. No, of course, that's what we want. But the point is,
they can do that by going to rossandnez.com.
Exactly. The point is that YouTube penalizing Logan Paul, Mark Zuckerberg giving speech after speech and releasing all these updates. Who, let's face it, he owns two of the hottest platforms on the planet, right? Facebook and Instagram. The fact that these guys are sending, it's communication. It's Marshall McLuhan, right? The medium is the message. It's sending the message out there to everybody. And I would say that this is our message as well, that be a little bit more aware of what you're creating, right? Be a little bit more aware that, what you're creating is being exposed. It's getting distributed. It's getting out there. And if you want to live and breathe on these platforms, if you want access to our global distribution networks, you gotta clean it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, and clean it up doesn't mean censorship. Clean it up doesn't mean I think it's actually a good thing. And I'm not going to question motives of, is YouTube and Soros, Cook, and YouTube. I mean, it's all business, right? I'm not worried about that. What I'm talking about is sending the message to my kids, my students, my own personal kids,
right?
That be a little bit more aware that what you're creating is going to be highly, highly visible. That's it.
Right. And creating stuff that really hurts people just for or just offends for no other purpose. We're not talking about political speech or things like that where I'm very, very much a First Amendment person. Like,
yes,
we have out our discussion. We let all the ideas out there and let the people choose. Right. Yep. But we're talking about just doing stupid stuff that's offensive and that's, we want people to know this isn't the way to get rich. Right. That's really the message you want kids receiving. Yeah. Being a jackass, for lack of a better word, right? And there was a show, Jackass, where being the jackass isn't the way to profit. And to the extent that YouTube is sending that message, or that's part of what they want to send, or at least on these platforms,
there's plenty of jackasses who make money, but on these platforms.
Tasering a dead rat or whatever, shooting BBs at a dead rat isn't a way to make money, and that's good. That is absolutely a good thing.
Yes.
And, I don't know whether we need to do it on another show or what, but we should probably talk about the Facebook algorithm in more in depth and what it means for live streamers, what it means for us and other people. But we'll save that for another show because we've been on for about 8 hours now.
Yeah, and I want to end with this. One way to get Ross and Nez on your news feed, please, everybody heed this, especially on the podcast, especially on YouTube, but definitely watching the replay here or watching this live. You need to go into your Facebook settings. It's very simple, and you need to put Ross and Nez, the live stream experience, as one of your see first. You have, many of you might not even know this. If you go into your Facebook settings, your news feed settings, okay,
Right.
just Google it. There's plenty of YouTube videos on how to do this if you don't know how to do it. You can decide, you can take charge of your news feed. You can decide what you see on your news feed, no matter what Facebook implements. If you want to see Ross and Nez first, we will be one of the people. I think you get up to 30 or something, bit different creators. You need to put Ross and Nez first, and then you'll never miss a live stream. You'll never miss these two schmucks going at it for 8 hours. And what's better? What's more entertaining than that?
Oh, I can't think of anything, Nez.
Maybe Chinese waterboarding, but anyway. So you
I didn't know they did waterboarding, but
they don't.
Right.
Oh, I don't
know.
I thought they did. I have no idea.
I love the sticker that I've seen on the back of cars that say, "I'd rather be waterboarding." Like you just said, like I'd rather
be waterboarding.
I'd rather be like water skiing or something. Like I'd rather be waterboarding.
Yeah. Oh, that's genius. That's genius. So guys, make sure that you can get us on your news feed. Share this out. Leave comments. Send us a message. What do you guys think about the topics we've talked about on this show? If you're watching this on the replay specifically, or listening to this on a podcast, send us a message. Go to our Facebook page, go to our YouTube channels, leave some comments. We want to create content that moves, inspires, and motivates you and engages you. So brings value to you. Let us know what you think of these topics. We'd love to hear from you.
And you can contact us through our website, rossandnez.com. You can also leave a comment below the video on our YouTube channel, rossandnez.com/YouTube. And that wraps it up for episode 20. For Professor Nez, I'm Ross Brand. Take care, everybody.